do not come with the same narrative that AfriForum is coming with, where ANC is trying to wipe out white people from South Africa.
And
we're not trying to wipe them out.
No,
we are not trying to oppress them.
Say what was said in the past. There is one fact about land in South Africa. Land was taken without the consent of the natives, and that is stealing. When the First World War happened in 1914, when those Mzungus came back, they were given vast pieces of land as compensation. And, there was also, again, illegal occupation and confiscation of tribal land during the 1940s. So the point that which has to be made is that the land was stolen. But now there were certain legislations, apartheid legislation, ANC legislations, which dealt with issues of land. A person who was in illegal possession of land was able to get a title deed, and then that person was able to dispose of the land the way he likes. He would donate it to his son. He would sell it to any other person. You see, so if we were to discuss and investigate and try to trace the original thief, we will have a certain tedious process which will be futile. It will be without any purpose. The ANC after 1994, it introduced legislation which restores possession of land to the natives. They introduced the Land Claims Court, in terms of which a person who is able to identify that a particular piece of land belonged to his ancestors, that person will go to the Land Claims Court with evidence, and he will be given that land. That process is still ongoing, even up to date. What happens is that you identify that this place belonged to your ancestors. You get evidence in the form of anthropological manuscripts. You get evidence in the form of graves. You get evidence in the form of old writings and stuff like that. And then you get it together, you present it to the Land Claims Court, and then you get your land. So people are getting their land back through that process, and that process is compensation based. When you identify that land and there is a ruling that that land belongs to your tribe, the court order is taken to the deeds office, and then the title deed comes out in the name of your tribe or in the name of the person in charge. But the government has to compensate the person who was in possession of that land. It doesn't matter whether it is illegal possession or a legit possession, but the system is compensation based. And it may not go down well with us that people who got the land for free are now being paid for the land which they got in an illegal manner. But we must remember that whether you are dissenting to a specific law, that law will apply to you until it is changed. You can be vocal. Look, you have to abide by the law. If you don't, then you have a problem. And one other thing, commanders, black people were not allowed to have land, to own land in the economic zones, in the townships, and in these cities until 1994. 1994, the ANC decided to cancel the 99-year lease which black people were having on township land, in the land where their 4 rooms were situated. They cancelled the 99-year lease, and that resulted in the people who were holding that lease agreement having title deeds. All of us were given title deeds. Our fathers were given title deeds. Our grandfathers were given title deeds. And that resulted in, even though it's little land, but we became owners of land. And the other thing which I want to say in closing, commanders, because I don't want to be long, the other race, Mzungus, are not owning 70% of our land. That is not the truth. That is not the truth. If you want to know who owns what with regards to land in South Africa, you go to the Deeds Office Pretoria and you ask for a land audit. They will give it to you at the cost of 12 rands, I think, and then you will see how land ownership is structured, or it goes in South Africa. All the land of South Africa is accounted for in the Deeds Office. It is separate, it is diagrammed, it is documented, it is cut into pieces. These pieces are title deeds, and it is stored, it is filed at the Deeds Office. The whole land in South Africa, even your Ngonyama Trust, you find it in the Deeds Office. You can see from the Deeds Office what is the extent of the deeds of the Ngonyama Trust. You can see what is the extent of your house where you are staying. So that is what it is, commanders. The Mzungus are not owning 70% of the land. It is not true. Most of the land in the country is owned by the South African government. 20% of your titles are belonging to government. This is your old post offices, your Transnet houses and stuff like that. And there is 30% of land which is not diagrammed, but it belongs to the government of South Africa. So they own 50% of the land, and the rest of the percentages are shared between us and the other races. I don't know where this issue, the other races owning 70% of the land comes from. I don't know where it comes from. But, I had elsewhere people saying that the 70% is 70% of farmland, is 70% of arable land belongs to the Mzungus. And I also heard that 70% is only 7% of South Africa's land mass. So this is what I heard. There's no proof as to that. But if that is the case, commanders, that saying is useless. It's got no benefit, because the notion of arable land belongs to the past. It belongs to the medieval period. Right now, when you find land and you want to farm, you have to adjust your land to your requirements, to the plants which you are going to put in that soil. So the issue of whether that land is arable or whatever, it's irrelevant. When you get a land, you must put nutrients into the land. You must check the pH of the land, what is the acidity of the land. You must check a lot of things. You must hire a soil scientist so that they are able to tell you what kind of minerals or substitutes you have to put on the land so that your land becomes productive. Because we are no longer farming in a subsistence manner like our parents or our grandparents. We are farming in a modern way so that we can be productive and also produce something which does not have diseases, fungus or stuff like that. So the issue of arable land is no longer an issue. You can plant anything anywhere in South Africa. If you want to plant cabbages in the Karoo, you prepare the land and you put on a net. They call it canals, and then your horticulturalist will advise, and then you proceed and benefit from that land. So the issue of land is like that, commanders. It is not otherwise. Thank you.
I'm here for actually with what Sandy. I think even the guy Matosa, and one thing that actually I'm shocked really to hear some of the things that they said. Like for example, Sandy, I'll speak of what you said, right? And this is very shocking to this 2025, because you said if you were to be given the land, what will you do? I think I'm paraphrasing here, all right? Because people, when we talk about land and this thing, I think maybe perhaps we just need to repeat it so that people understand. Land, it is categorized, and I think Commander Josh also made some bit of categorizing. We have got agricultural land, and we have got the so-called, we can classify it as residential, right? So when we're talking about land, we're talking about all those categories. What do you mean, what will you do with the land? I mean, land can be utilized in many ways. Right now, people are being, if you go to Alexander and see the square meters of Alexander, and as compared to the population, you'll be shocked. We cannot discuss such things to date in 2025 and discuss what will people do. People need to have a place for residence. It does not make sense when people live in a plot of land that has got, these plots, and the others are living in a very, very small piece. It's so shocking even when you go to this new development of houses that we see around the townships. This new development in 2025, where you see you can't even have a space for a parking. When you are that big, you can't even walk around your house. That's what people are subjected to. So I think we need to get away from that mentality of thinking that people, when they are given land, they're not going to be able to utilize it. And I think Commander also spoke about soil scientists. How many soil scientists that are there? Perhaps if we're talking in terms of agriculture, that is the time now where we can even utilize them to assist. And to this day, I still don't understand when people are going to then not recognize the fact that the land was stolen. And I think it was Azania who spoke about this thing. It was stolen because always people like to refer to the 1913 Act, whatever. Where will this be? We're talking about the first settlers from Europe who came here in 1400. The likes of Vasco da Gama. To this day, we still have some of those surnames. Did they compensate our people when they got that land, or they got it for free? Then we can even refer back to the 1600 when we're talking of Jan van Riebeeck. To date, we have got this Kaapstad that is there. We can even see the majority of the people that are there. Did they compensate our people that on that? We can even go beyond and go into this thing of also talking about in the early 1900, where even in the 40s and the 30s and all those things, the likes of when we're talking of District 6. When we're talking also about Sophia Town, Kofifi, where our people were, these houses were destroyed. They had to subject them to this thing called the township, where they give them a 99-year lease, where our people were just there, being squeezed in a very small area there. All of a sudden, we then have to then say that what will we do with the land? Come on, guys. This is 2025. There is no apology of anything. Here we are talking about our people. We've been subjected to these things for how many years? And then now all of a sudden when we speak about these things, our people, They're also having a doubt about us. We also need to utilize this land in all ways, in all sectors, whether it's true, all those areas. We also need to do everything need to reflect the demographic of this country. You cannot talk about farms. Then, when you talk about farms, then it does not reflect to the how we are as South Africa here. There's about 70% of native, of the sand, the South African natives, which is black people. There's 70% of us. But when it comes to this land, we are subjected to only very. I mean, you go to a township, you see that the square meters, 200 square meters. That's the maximum that you can get in a township. Where else, if you go elsewhere, then you are subjected to at least 500 to 1,000 square meters of a house, of a yard. Our people are living in level 3. Those things are not houses. It's someone's sitting. The whole house is someone's sitting room. Then we have to be asked about what are we going to do about land. Guys, no, this is 2025. I don't expect these things to be for people to have doubts of minds. And then again, with this thing of always thinking that the Afrikaner, because basically they are the Dutch. They just adopted that name, because they actually wanted. At some point, they used to call themselves Koi, which is the Koi, meaning the colored. I mean, not the colored, the cap, because they settled it around Cape Town. They used to call themselves Koi, the cap. A Holland organization, orientated indigenous. Those were the Koi. I'm not talking about the colored people. I'm talking about the Dutch settlers. That's what they used to call themselves at some point. So because of the relationship with the South African natives, they started to call themselves them San, and all of a sudden, then because of the intermarriage and all those things, all of a sudden those people they started to be known as the Khoisan. That thing, they don't exist. Must not come here and preach all those things. And I'm still finishing. Let me complete what I was saying, and in conclusion. So we must not come here and come here and think that we don't know our history. Okay, we have got the farms, our areas. I can even take you to where our people were. My people. I'm not talking about other people. My people. It's farms of Van Rensburg farm. Okay. Every time when we have to go and see our remains, the burials, we have to go there to Jan van Riebeeck and perhaps if he's happy that day, he has to allow us to his farm so that we can go as Yobegela Matlosi and speak to our ancestors. No, this thing is wrong and it must be rectified. It must be rectified. We cannot allow such things to happen in South Africa for quite some time. And someone also spoke about the in conclusion. Someone spoke about the people that were arrested during apartheid, and then now he's talking about laws and all those things. We still have a lot of our people that are arrested, that are in jail as we speak right now. Especially the comrades of the PAC, the Pan-African Congress, the PAC. The APLA movement that are still now in jail. Because the reason why actually they did not even want to release them to this day is because they actually, I hear these people now talking about EFF irrelevant because those always steal things. I'm talking about the PAC. The reason why they did not want to release them is because they were speaking about some of these issues that we're talking about now to date. They're still in jail to this day. They only released those ones from MK. Don't provoke us, please. Thank you.
Yeah,
Hello.
so I
Are you
just wanted
guys
to correct
are you
Mokele.
guys tapping the
I really
screen? Our host, I think.